Listen to your heart. Your heart is never wrong. Always face the truth. Your heart won't lead you home.
Welcome to Soul Wealth, wealthy conversations that nurture the soul. Get ready for an enlightening conversation that will nurture your soul and help you live your best life. Now, here's your host, Dr. Vicki Johnson.
Welcome to the Soul Wealth Radio Show. I am your host, Dr. Vicki Johnson, and here on Soul Wealth Radio, we will be having wealthy conversations that nurture the soul. I'm so excited and grateful to be back on the air after an 11-year hiatus. And so just really excited to bring to you Soul Wealth online and on the radio here on dcradio.gov and on 96.3 HD for WHUR. Soul Wealth. What is Soul Wealth? Soul Wealth, by definition, is vision, compassion, authenticity, abundance, and legacy. It's a brand. Yes, that's the definition, but it's also a lifestyle and a way of being. And so the Soul Wealth Radio Show is a natural extension or evolution, if you will, of the work that I have been doing now for over 30 years, working with women to inspire, provoke, and empower them to be great in the mirror first, and then in the marketplace. So now that I'm back on the air and super excited, we will be having very interesting, unique, and inspiring conversations that are wealthy and that nurture your soul across all industries, if you will. So we will be talking to people in faith and politics and social justice, community advocacy, leadership, and health and wellness. And that is because that's really a picture of my life. I touch women who are in all of those areas. I am known as the mentor's mentor. And so again, here we are back on the air, bringing you soul wealth, and grateful to be doing so. Today, I am having a conversation with someone that I adore, that I have watched evolve, and I want to read her bio, just a brief part of her bio, and then we're going to get to know who she is so she can share some nuggets with us and nurture our soul through this wealthy conversation based on her expertise and who she is in the world today. And so her bio quickly reads that when she realized that she was born with all of her goddess powers already within, my guest today changed her diet, her mindset, and her career. And the revolution began. She is a certified integrative nutrition health coach, a producer and host of the Sanctuary Radio Show here on dcradio.gov. She's been featured on and in multiple media outlets. And when she's not hanging out with her teenage daughter or bobbing her head to some golden era hip hop, you can find my guest today educating, empowering, and inspiring melanated people to unapologetically transform into their most authentic and healthy selves by tapping into the God and Goddess within. Her upcoming book, for which I was honored to write the foreword, From Jersey to Me, The Awakening and Healing of a Goddess, hits shelves really soon. And so today I am so blessed, and you as the listener are blessed as well, to listen to me share some nuggets and receive some nuggets from my guest today, Wendi Cherry. Hey, Wendi.
Hey, Dr. Vicki. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful. And I'm so happy when you came and asked me if I would be your first guest. I was hyped. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. I'm super hyped because you're my first guest, and this is major. right? This is the start of another chapter, if you will, for Soul Wealth. And I was your first guest on the Sanctuary Radio Show.
Indeed.
And so how appropriate
Yep.
to have you as my first guest here on the Soul Wealth Radio Show. And we together get to take Soul Wealth to the world. So let's get right into it because we don't have a lot of time today. Who is Wendi Cherry? Like, what is your story? How did you get here?
Okay, so I am Tisha Renee, the name that I was given when I was adopted.
Wow.
I am Wendi Deneen, the name my parents gave me. I am Cora, the name that the Creator gave me when I asked her who I was. And then I am Goizam, and that is the name that the Cameroonian ambassador gave me at a naming ceremony once I did my African ancestry and traced my roots there.
I remember that. So with all of those names, because, you know, words have energy, names have energy, how did you navigate, if you will, those transitions? Because with every name, I'm sure came a shift.
Yes.
Right? And that's why we have to be careful when we take on other people's words and or we allow people to define us or redefine us or give us an identity based on their perception of who we are. So that's a lot of shifts and a lot of transitions. So talk to us a little bit about how that experience was for you.
Well, the experience of the name Cora came when you invited me in 2013 to your home for the Fearless Salon. Remember that? And you told us to sit and to write what our name would be if we were doing our passion and doing what we were supposed to be doing at 100%.
Wow.
And then you said, just listen to spirit, and that will tell you, because really I was sitting there going, what's she talking about? I didn't know. And so I looked at the other women in the room. You invited 10 to 12 women, and you said that you had been in leadership and you wanted to pour into us kind of like the next generation.
Yes.
So I'm going, maybe I don't belong in the room because I don't know what she's talking about. And so you said, sit quietly. And then I kept saying, as an adoptee, I want to know who I am at the core of myself. And then Spirit just kept saying, Cora, and Cora. That's what it came to be. So we were sitting in your sunroom, and I politely got up and went into the bathroom and boo-hooed because I was like, it came so clearly to me.
That's awesome.
And so then I came to understand that Cora with a K is an African way to embrace the name, and a Kora, K-O-R-A, is an West African instrument, and it is a griot. They call it a jolly, and they are the ones who tell information to the people.
Wow.
And they are also the ones who pass down the family history. So I, as an adoptee, was trying to, at that point, learn my family history. So then when I got to Goizam from the Cameroonian ambassador, Goizam means the beloved one. And I'm the one who started the search to put my biological family back into place.
Yes, you have to come back and talk to us about that. I definitely want to explore and share that journey because I know someone or several who are listening or will listen will be inspired by your story of pulling all of the tribe back together, right?
Yes.
That's what we do in life every day anyway, is we're trying to return to who we originally were,
right?
Because life is all about the journey of going back to the future, if that makes sense. Because our identities were already in place when we were born. And so that's what I believe that life is about and why we explore the soul. Let me just insert here parenthetically that the soul is the seat of your emotion. And I have built this lifestyle, this movement, this brand on the foundation that if your soul or your emotions are broken, then so is your life. How many people do we know that have a lot of things, have a lot of money, but emotionally unstable, and that is because they have not done the work
Absolutely.
around their soul. We call it soul work, soul alchemy, soul wealth is what it is. So I think it's beautiful that you have come into this place, because we teach what we have learned. And that is the beauty of experience.
Right.
That is the beauty of these transitions, because the worst thing in the world is listening to someone try to teach you something not only they don't know, but that they have never experienced.
Agreed.
So I just think that's beautiful. And as you were talking, I'm like, she sounds like the Oracle from the Matrix, right? We all need an Oracle
Yeah.
in our lives. And like you, I am that person in my family. I am the person, the connector, the family reunion planner, the gatherer,
Right.
if you will, and the one who is frequently reminding my family and friends and the women that I get to mentor, who they are. So what inspires you? Who inspires you? Why do you keep going?
Inspiration comes from looking at my daughter. So when I first had her, when I was pregnant, I was miserable and I was sick. So I didn't have a great pregnancy experience. So now to remember where I came from and then to see her just having turned 17 and be thriving and be happy, and so that inspires me. My mother inspires me because she's so strong and she's so giving and loving. And so she helps me remember to be those things. Getting to know my new siblings. I am now, instead of being the big sister, one of two, I am now the 6th of 11.
Wow.
So getting
Say
to know
that again.
them.
Hold on, wait a minute.
I'm the 6th
Somebody's
of
listening
11.
like, what is she talking about?
Yes, I'm the 6th of 11.
In your adoptive family, you're the big sister, the older of two siblings.
The older of just one other sister.
Of one other sister. And so when you discovered your birth family,
Right.
you are number 6
Yes.
of 11.
Yes.
That's a shift.
That's a shift. Yeah. And in January of December 2018, I thought I was the number 5. I am now the number 6.
Wow.
So that is a shift too.
So you definitely need soul wealth in your life because of the constant discoveries,
Yes.
right? And the constant shifts and adjustments
Yes.
of birth order, because that
Yes.
does matter
That's what I'm saying.
energetically. And to grow up being the older sister, to find that you really are the middle child.
The middle. Just right there
Just
in the
about.
middle.
I am a middle child. So there's a whole energy
Yeah, there is.
that comes with being the middle child. So we don't have a lot of time. You have to come back. Wendy, I just
will
want to
come
get back into, you have had an amazing professional career,
I
life.
have. Yes.
And from working on a cruise ship, which I didn't know.
Yeah.
Working on a cruise ship to, working for the Grammys for a long time, to now being an integrated health coach.
Yes.
And the creator of the Sanctuary radio show and your Goddess Awakening
And
empire.
Healing Sanctuary. Yep.
Empire, to your upcoming book, From Jersey to Me, The Awakening and Healing of a Goddess. I want to get to that.
Okay.
And let me just insert here where our listeners can find out more information about you, because
Okay.
I don't want to have to abruptly cut you off. They can
Right.
just go where to get more
WendiCherry.com.
information. Wendi, that's WENDI, cherry.com. So go there and get all of the information and more information and connect with Wendi. But I want to get into, how did you get from the Grammys to becoming a health coach?
I got there because I began to realize that it really wasn't what I was doing. What I was doing and who I was as a person wasn't in alignment. And so I felt like...
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Y'all have to hear that. Who she is and what she was doing was not in alignment. And when you're out of alignment, that's painful. That's why we go to the chiropractor.
That's ground out teeth,
yeah,
stomach aches,
all of
and
that.
stress.
So you want to, who you are should be in alignment with what you do. If you are doing something that's not in alignment with who you are, you're not a very happy person, and neither is your soul, and your emotions are all over the place. So that's just a parenthetical. Thank you, Wendi, for that. Keep going.
Yeah. So I wanted to, and then I was always having some ailments. So then I started listening to these people talk about natural ways to heal yourself. And at your Girl Talk Unplugged, however many years ago that was.
2012.
Yes. You introduced us to Dr. Sakaliba Mines,
Yes.
who is an integrative doctor. So then it just made sense. It was just lining up the natural part, the natural mind, body, and spirit. And that's a way to heal your body or to approach healing. So I decided after 3 surgeries that didn't work, I would try something else. And that's how. And then I wanted to share it with everybody because in the space of healing, the people who are there don't look like us.
Right.
So,
Well,
yeah.
thank you. You all have to go to wendycherry.com to connect with Wendi to find out more information about her journey, to hire her. She's a guide, a coach, to help you come into alignment, spirit, soul, body, to learn this new way of being, of managing your health. She's done the work, doing the work. And so tell us about the Awakening Goddess Sanctuary. What is that vision?
So the vision started out as the Goddess Awakening and Healing Summit in 2015, for which you were going to be on there. And it just wasn't the time.
Right.
So then in 2017, during the winter solstice, I didn't know what I was doing with my life still. I left entertainment and I was just trying to figure it out. During the winter solstice, it came to me to look up being a health coach. I didn't even know they existed.
Wow.
The next day, I called them and they said, class starts in 3 weeks. I paid for it in cash and got a tax write-off. And then I took the classes online for a year and became certified.
So I want to just jump in right there really quickly. And I'm catching the wealth, right? The nuggets that you're sharing, because these are wealthy conversations that nurture the soul. It came to you.
It came to
right?
me.
And so our listeners, I want you to think about the times that something just comes to you. That is not happenstance. That really is your inner wisdom, your inner guide, God, the universe, talking to you, giving you direction. It is an arrow. It is your intuition, if you will, because everything we need, we already have it inside. And so this journey of soul wealth is learning to trust that something came to me.
And to take inspired action.
Yes.
Things come to us all day long, but if we don't act on it,
Yes.
then we may miss it for
we
that
may
time.
miss the window. We may miss the window. So that's awesome. So you started as a summit.
I
then
started
it
as a summit,
became-
and then it became the Goddess Awakening and Healing Sanctuary. And I changed it to Sanctuary because then I became a coach.
Okay.
And the Sanctuary is a safe place for
Yes.
transformation.
Yes,
And I was
awesome.
providing that to my clients.
That's awesome. And so moving from the Grammys to health coach to the Sanctuary to now about to release this amazing book.
Thank you.
From Jersey to Me, The Awakening and Healing of a Goddess, which, by the way, is available for pre-order on wendycherry.com.
Indeed.
And so talk to us a little bit about the book as we're coming to the end of this wealthy conversation.
Okay, so the book has always been in me. It's just been like a baby that I've been just in gestation with. And I started in June. Now, I knew that I wanted to write a book. Everybody always told me I should. I needed some support. So I needed someone to keep me contained, to give me the steps. So I've done it. And now it's here. And it basically talks about my journey of from being an adoptee to traveling around the world, looking for something, yearning to be connected to something. Now, don't get me wrong. I grew up in a beautiful home with a beautiful mom, and we still have a great relationship. But as an adoptee, there's still a yearning there. So I'm looking in all these different places, listening to all these different people, and then I realized I had everything inside me. And everybody else were guides, and they came at certain times just when I needed them, including you. And then many people that you've introduced me to, they all came at certain times on the journey to help support me. But at the end of the day, I have my own intuition and my own instinct and my own experience. So I was able to do that and look in the mirror and realize that it was right there the whole time. Sort of like Dorothy when they tell her, all you got to do is click your heels and then you were home already. It's inside of you. And so I've documented that in the book. But it was painful. The years of going through some of these things have been painful. Some of it has been exhilarating and triumphant and messy and beautiful and scary and not knowing. But I was learning also that the Creator has me and things happen for me instead of to me. Because that, like when you read in my bio, I changed my mindset.
Yes.
I had to change my mindset on that.
That's a big part.
That's a big part. And realizing that where I was and what was happening to me at any given time was because I attracted it or I created the atmosphere where it could be there, whether it was awesome or whether it wasn't so awesome. So just taking that accountability and responsibility for myself.
That's important, personal responsibility, because when you grow up with a victim mentality or feel as if you're living at the mercy of life and what life does to you instead of the interpretation of life is happening for me to teach me so that I can then reach back and teach somebody else. The truth is this: we are where we are supposed to be when we are supposed to be there to get the lesson. Everything is a blessing or a lesson.
Yep. And you don't lose anything.
You don't lose anything. You don't lose time. You don't lose any relationship that you need for where you are going, because relationships, not all of them are lifetimes. Some of them are for a season and some relationships are for a moment just to teach you that lesson and then you move on. So I am super excited about From Jersey to Me, The Awakening and Healing of a Goddess. I have time for a couple more questions I want to get in here.
Okay.
So what legacy does Wendi Cherry want to leave? What imprint? I like to call it the dinosaur imprint, you know?
Okay.
What impression do you want to leave in the
I want
earth?
to leave the impression that I enjoyed my life, that she had a good time, that she was flexible, and that she made whoever it was that experienced me with light, and that I added something to them. That has changed. Because recently in the last few years, I have heard people when they say, well, she gave everything, she worked herself to death, she'll give you her last. And I don't want to be that martyr.
Right.
I want to be the one who I use every ounce of the life that I'm given in this lifetime to just have fun and enjoy it. So that's the legacy.
Have fun. The legacy of fun, adventure, the acquisition of wisdom and knowledge. Make every moment count is what I like to say. One of my mastermind coaches says, be where your feet are. Be fully present. If you're going to do it, be all the way there. Or don't do it at all. Because as adults, we don't have to do anything. Right? Every moment we live at choice. We choose what our experience is going to be or not be. And if the experience is something that we don't like, we get to choose not to repeat that same experience. And that takes courage.
And
That
self-awareness.
takes courage and self-awareness. Absolutely. Where did you get your courage from?
I'm still trying to drum up my courage. Because it doesn't come, I'm just realizing that it's going to be okay. And not trying to white knuckle everything and control everything. So that's where I get it from, just knowing, that's where I'm starting to stand in it, that everything is going to be okay and it's going to work out the way it's supposed to. So it has brought me so much peace. It has brought me so much peace.
Trusting the process and knowing that peace is possible. I say that all the time. So as we prepare to close, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit and just ask you, what has been your greatest lesson in life to date.
Okay.
And that is going to be your soul wealth tip, because
Okay.
what I want to teach while sharing these wealthy conversations is how to transmute failure into moving forward, how to turn your pain into purpose. How does that work? So in sharing your lesson, that's going to be your tip.
Okay. So the greatest lesson that I'm learning is that it is okay to pivot.
Oh, that's good, Wendy. Let's pause. Wait a minute.
Breathe that in.
Okay, it's okay to pivot,
And
right?
you don't need anybody else's permission.
You don't need permission to pivot. Boom.
Yeah.
Write that down. That's
You
a
don't-
tweetable, y'all.
Yes, you don't need
You
anybody's
don't
permission
need
to
permission to pivot. And see, I'm a former athlete. I played basketball in junior high, which is middle school, high school, and college. And being able to pivot in a moment's notice is the difference maker,
Yes.
right? It's the difference maker of, are you going to score or is the ball going to get stolen from you, right? That pivot is powerful. So listen, you don't need permission to pivot. I love that. I love that, Wendy.
Thank you. And I got that from because those of us who are 30s, 40s, 50s and moving on, you've been in a certain little box.
Yeah.
And you think because you have the husband or you have the kids and you have this house that you can't do other things. And that people may say, what's wrong with her? She's going through a midlife crisis. But no, you don't need the permission.
You do not need permission to pivot. Wendy, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
For being with me today on the inaugural conversation, wealthy conversation that nurtures our souls. You can, again, connect with Wendi at Wendi Cherry. That's Wendi with an I, Wendi, Cherry.
Just like the fruit.
.com. And you can also connect with me, Dr. Vicki Johnson, at Vicki, Vikki, Johnson.com. I just released my 12th book in August of 2019, and my book and other books and Soul Wealth products are available on my website, Vicki, Vikki, Johnson.com. Connect with me on Instagram and Twitter at All Things Vicki, Facebook at Elder Vicki Johnson, or Soul Wealth Sacred Sisterhood. I'm on all social media platforms. And again, thank you for listening today to the Soul Wealth Radio Show on 96.3 HD4, WHUR, and online at dcradio.gov. Remember, Soul Wealth is your birthright. Until next time, peace.
You've been listening to Soul Wealth, wealthy conversations that nurture the soul with Dr. Vicki Johnson. Soul Wealth is not just a brand, it's a lifestyle of vision, compassion, authenticity, abundance, and legacy created one conversation, one choice at a time. For more information, visit VickiJohnson.com or click on Soul Wealth at dcradio.gov.